Hey everyone, I'm Leslie from the Baker's Almanac, and today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect quenelle. In case you never heard of it before, a quenelle is kind of like a football-shaped fancy scoop of ice cream or whipped cream or whatever you're using for your dessert. Using a quenelle is very common for plating desserts in kind of finer dining restaurants, and you usually do it in place of using a scoop. I first learned how to do quenelles when I was in pastry school, and I remember us being in class practicing them for like an hour, and I could not make any of them that looked good. It took me so long to get the rhythm down on how to do it, and I wanted to make today's video to share some tricks with you and teach you how to do it so you don't struggle as much as I did. For my day job, I work as a pastry cook in a restaurant in New York City, and almost all of our desserts do use quenelles. So whenever I'm plating a dessert, I'm constantly doing it. So I feel like I've gotten pretty good at doing them, not to toot my own horn. So let's get into it, and I'll teach you some of my best tips and tricks and show you the correct process for making a quenelle. When it comes to practicing your quenelles, I would recommend having a few things on hand. Either use some Crisco, which is a good consistency to practice with, or get some ice cream or make yourself some whipped cream. I just made some whipped cream with some mascarpone and powdered sugar, and I think it'll be a good consistency to practice with. I also just have a baking tray lined with aluminum foil, and this makes for really easy cleanup because after you're done you can just pull off the foil and throw it away. You're also going to want your cup with some water, and then finally a spoon to quenelle with. There are specifically made some quenelle spoons that you can use that are good for that purpose. This one I got from pastry school when I was there, and you really just want a nice oval shape to give yourself the beautiful quenelle. To start doing the quenelles, basically what you want to do is first dip your spoon into your water. You want it to be very clean and also a little bit hot because you want the water to be pretty warm. And you're going to take your container where you have your item that you're quenelling, in my case it's my whipped cream, and what you're going to want to do is utilize the side of the bowl to kind of pull up the cream. So I'm going to just dig in and kind of pull a mound up here, and then I'm just going to start bringing it down and pulling up and up and up again. If you find it struggling, you can drop the quenelle that you're working on right there, get some more water and dry it off on your towel, and then you're just going to continue to do that motion. I'm just pulling the quenelle up the side of the bowl until I like the shape, and then I can just drag the edge like there and then place it onto my baking sheet. So let's try that again. If you find yourself that there's not much on this side, what I'm going to do is kind of make a mound over here. I'm going to pull the cream over here to manipulate it so I have more to work with. After you do that, make sure to really wash your spoon off in your water, and then I'm just going to dry it so there's no cream whatsoever and get it a little bit wet. And then I'm going to repeat that motion. So I'm just going to dig my spoon in here, and you're going to think about carving up. So once you carve up, you're going to keep manipulating the spoon on the side to really create that motion. This one, and before you drop it, you see that little edge hanging? I'm just going to wipe that directly on the side of the bowl. And then I have my quenelle here, and I'm just going to drop it. And if you're plating that for a dessert, you would just drop it directly onto the plate where it wants to go. So let's do it a little more so you can keep seeing the motion. Between every time you do it, you're going to want to wash your spoon off. I'm going to pat it dry just a little bit, and then go again. So think of, put your spoon in and carve upwards. I have this big mound here, and I'm going to cut off the excess by continuing to carve onto the side of the bowl. If you can see that it's kind of giving away from you, all you can do then is you can just drop it down, and then I'm going to actually just wash off that excess. If you ever find that the quenelle is fighting you, you can easily do that to go back and work on it fresh. So my spoon is clean again. I'm just going to pick up exactly where I was and just continue doing the same process until I have that quenelle that I like. And we'll drop. Alright, My mound is kind of gone now, so I'm just gonna bring a little bit more cream over here. Wash my spoon in between, and then do a couple more. Once you get good, you can start to do them pretty fast. So like there, I did that one. The cream is a little bit loose. If I wanted to, I could whip it up again so it's a bit firmer, and I do find that things like ice cream or whipped creams that are more firmer are easier to quenelle. When it's loose, it's always a bit more difficult, but you can still get a beautiful quenelle shape out of it. Sometimes you'll find that you'll get bubbles like this one. You see I have a little bubble in the top. You can easily avoid getting that if you just do what I showed you before, where you stop in between and then wash and then keep working on it. So I'm gonna continue carving up just like this, and see I can have the bubbles there. I'm just gonna drop it, do a quick rinse, and then continue that carving motion until I like how the quenelle looks. So the quenelles that I have here, they're not perfect, you know, but that's what practice will do. You just keep doing it over and over again. There are different methods to making quenelles. This is the one that I like to use most at work. I find it's quick and it's easy, and it really does make for a beautiful quenelle. Another trick you can do if you're working in a professional environment to get a really smooth and beautiful quenelle, what you can do is after you rinse your spoon, you can actually blowtorch it, and the heat is going to make a really, really gorgeous surface on the quenelle. At my restaurant, we do that sometimes when we are quenelling whipped creams like this, because they can be a little bit more difficult than ice cream. Also, what I've noticed here is that there's a lot of whipped cream building up on the side of the bowl, and I know that when I continue to drag, it's going to get stuck there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the bowl and use this fresh side. I do that a lot when I'm quenelling ice cream, because the ice cream really starts to build up and it gets really tricky. If this happens and you notice that you don't have enough whipped cream or ice cream, whatever, to work with, I'm just going to drop it, rinse my spoon off again, and dry it, and then I'm gonna go deeper in and get a little bit more because it's a little bit too small for how I want it. Drop, rinse, and then let's see what we can do. Wipe the side off and then drop. So that's the general motion for how you make quenelles. I hope this has been helpful for you, and that this will inspire you to include more quenelles in your desserts, or if you're working in a restaurant like me. It's a really useful skill to get good at because it can really make for a beautiful dessert. I hope this video has been helpful for you. As you can see, I have my finished quenelles here, and after you finish doing like a row and you want to keep practicing, all you would have to do then is just easily go ahead and scrape them off, and you can put them right back into your bowl and then keep working. It's that simple. If you did enjoy today's video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I share new videos every week related to baking tips, delicious recipes, and some insight into what working in the culinary world is like. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and happy quenelling! I'll see you then. Bye!